So indeed, it's a privilege. It's my privilege to be here again. It's a zchus to learn Torah with all my chaverim. Tonight, since the shir is about Hakarat Hatov, so the first Hakarat Hatov has to go to this holy place, to the organizers and facilitators of this shir, Rav Chaim, Rav Gil, and Avade, the Maradei Asra Shlita. You should only know Besuras Toivis. I want to dedicate this shir le'ilui nishmas ha'isha ha'chashuva, hinda basarav Yaakov Peretz, alea ha'sholom. Isha chashuva eshes chayil. Chazal tell us that tzaddikim b'misoso, tzaddikim when they depart, do more for Klal Yisrael from above than they can actually do from here. So we are certain that the Isha chashuva hinda basarav Yaakov Peretz is able to, Imirtze Hashem, facilitate and bring closer Geula Shlema. She is watching over your family and she's taking care of, she's trying to help in every ways that she can, that you should have an easier time. Imirtze Hashem, the family should know only simcha v'nachas. Kol hayamim betov uveneimim. Should never know more tzar. Should only know simcha until the simcha hashalema, the geula kerova bekorov biyameinu amen. We should mention that it's a yortzeit of Rabbi Yoelish. We'll say a vote in the name of Rabbi Yoelish. Rabbi Yoelish was very, very sharp, very, very sharp. In the early years of Satmar, so he actually used to go from house to house to collect. There was no money. So this is when Mamash at the beginning, he once came to somebody's house in Borough Park. He says, you need some money. He gave him $47. $47? What's pshat $47? So he says, isn't your name Yoel? Yoel Gimatia is 47. The Berush on the spot says to him, but my mother calls me Yoelish. Should add another 310. We should really speak Torah of Yoelish, but I actually have a lot of his Torah in the sefer behind you, Megillas Esther, in English, has 350 interpretations of what Ad lo yada really means. Do you really have to drink on Purim to the point that you mamish get drunk or not? Bahalacha uva agada. Rabbi Yoelish wrote 70 perushim just on that. 70 perushim. I have many of them in this sefer. But so as we said, this is Hakarat Hatov, appreciation. So we must give appreciation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the ability to learn Torah, to teach Torah, for all of you Chaverim that have the zchus. We have the zchus to share Torah together. It's a tremendous zchus, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. We have a tradition here. We have a tradition that we gather the best dayanim in Highland Park or the vicinity. Dayanim mumchim, expert judges. And we're going to present certain cases, and we're going to ask you to find the correct halachic approach to resolve these wild, wild cases. We start with the first case. Listen to this. Unbelievable. There was a girl here in the United States that went off the derech. How off the derech? 180 degrees off the derech. Mamish. Lo aleinu velo aleichem, she married a goy. And she had a kid and she raised him. He had no idea that he's Jewish. He was raised in a goyish house. This kid, when he reached the age of 18, he says to his mother, I want to go to college. Want to go to college? So go work. No. Give me money. Money. Go to work and you go to college. So he had to go to work. He started working in a restaurant. And he noticed after a few days, it's a high-end restaurant, that every night they clean up and they have a lot of food left over. And the owner takes the food and throws it into the garbage. So he goes to the owner and says, Mabash, it's a shame. There's so many people out there who can use this. Homeless people, poor people. What a shame to throw all this in the garbage. I think you should give it out. So the restaurant owner says to him, listen, I'm not in that business. I'm in the restaurant business. If you want, you can take the food and I'll go deliver it. He says, fine. That's what he started doing. Every night, before they closed, he took all the food, and there was a lot of food, and he went to the place where they all hang out, people who need it, and he started giving all the food. He noticed after a few days that there was one guy who looked hungry just like the rest, but he never came close to him. He never took anything from him. So he went close to him and he says, this is top-notch restaurant. How come you're not taking? All your friends are taking and enjoying it. Why don't you participate? And now comes a shocking answer. This guy looks at him and says, I'm not going to take from this. You're a Jew! And if you touch this food, it's disgusting. I hate Jews. And whatever Jews touch, it's disgusting. I will never touch it. The guy looks at him and says, what? I'm a Jew? What are you talking about? You're a Jew. He says, how do you know? He says, listen, I grew up with Jews in my neighborhood. I know Jewish people. We don't have this type of thing. You work in a restaurant, after a whole day, you come and you deliver foods without instead of the owner doing it, you're taking it upon yourself. This is too much chesed. We don't have that. You must be Jewish. I smell it. And if a Jew touches my food, I don't touch it. Shocking. He goes back home. He says, Mommy, you got to hear what happened today. Are we Jewish? He cornered her. She didn't have to say. She said, yes, we're Jewish. I'm Jewish? You're Jewish. He packed his bag that night. Says, Mommy, Kol Tuv, should have a wonderful, healthy life. I'm going to Eretz Yisrael to find out what is this Judaism about. I'm Jewish. I need to know what it is. This guy right now sits in Eretz Yisrael and learns in one of the best yeshivas in Yerushalayim. True, my son. A year after this happened, in the summer, he flew back here to say hello to his mother. As he gets close to his neighborhood, he sees this guy, the goy, who yelled at him last year, "You're a Jew!" Now he comes to Highland Park and asks a question. Am I chayev Hakarat Hatov to this goy? Only because of him I found out that I'm Jewish. If it wasn't for him, I would continue living my life as a goy. Is there a chiyuv Hakarat Hatov to the goy? There's actually three questions that we're dealing here with. Is there a chiyuv Hakarat Hatov to a goy? Is there Hakarat Hatov to someone who declares, I hate you? And is there Hakarat Hatov to someone who did something good to you, benefited from him, but he never intended to? He had no idea that he's helping out this Jewish fellow. So we're trying to figure out three major questions here. Is there Hakarat Hatov to a goy? Is there Hakarat Hatov to someone who says, I hate you? Is there Hakarat Hatov to someone who benefited you, but without any intention to do so? Rabbi Isai, what do you say?
Is this a shkufa sham or
מה פתאום? הלוך למעשה. Is it chayav Hakarat Hatov? With a goy, if you're not chayav Hakarat Hatov and you give him something, it's an isur deoraisa. Lo yisrech choinem. Last week, 2 weeks ago, Parshas Vayischanan. If you give a goy a gift when you're not really chayav to give him something, potentially an isur deoraisa of lo yisrech choinem. So we must know. He wants to give him $10,000, a big bottle of wine. I don't know, a bouquet of flowers, chocolate. Is he chayav Hakarat Hatov or not?
Yes. You see, for Moshe.
What about Moshe?
So Hashem gave him a number of names when he was born.
How many names did Moshe Rabbeinu have?
6.
The Medrash says, he says he has 10 names. And what do we call him?
Moshe.
Why Moshe?
We have Hakarat Hatov
What an answer. To whom? To a Goya.
to a mystery.
To a Goya.
Well, that's...
Pile Ploimo an answer?
There's a shita that says she toiled in the river that day.
True. True. She went to convert. Rashi brings it on the spot.
Right.
When did she find him though? Before or after? The Medrash doesn't say. The Medrash doesn't say. The Nitziv actually says that the reason we use the name Moshe, why don't we use the name Tuvia? The name Avigdor. He had many beautiful names. The names his parents gave him. Because when they put him in the basket and they put him in the Nile, in essence, the part of Moshe Rabbeinu died. That's the language of the Nitziv. There is no Tuvia. There is no Avigdor. You put him in the basket in the Nile. She saved his life. He's only alive because of her. So he's called Moshe. Fantastic. So there is a Hakarat Hatov to a goy. We want to establish it. Fine. What about a goy who declares, I hate you? What about a person who benefited you and he never intended to? What do you say, Rabbi Isai? Not everybody together. Slow down. Is there a Hakarat Hatov in these cases or not? You know, very surprising. You think only for a goy there's a Hakarat Hatov. There's even a Hakarat Hatov for a dog. A dog? You have to give a Hakarat Hatov to a dog. Yerushalmi and Trumis. Perek Ches. Halacha Hei. Pilei Ploim of Amaisa. The Gemara says, there was an Amoira who came to somebody's house in town. Got so excited. Wow. Godel Ador coming to visit me. He opened up a big table, called everybody in town. He sat the Amora here, and who did he sit right next to him? His dog. So the Amora says, excuse me? You're trying to embarrass me? Why are you doing this? He said, Chas v'sholom. Just a few days ago, there was an armed robbery here. And these people came and they almost killed my wife. And the dog jumped at them and he saved my wife's life. So, Hakarat Hatov to the dog. And the Gemara doesn't make fun of this. The Gemara just brings this as a legitimate story. Right after that, there's another Ma'aseh in the Gemara. It says there's some shepherds. They wanted to have something to drink. They milked a cow. They had a glass of milk and then they went somewhere. And a snake came and put some poison in the milk. The dog saw this happening. So when the shepherds came back and wanted to drink, the dog started barking. And he's barking to tell them, don't drink this. I guess they didn't know the dog's language. They didn't understand what they... So they're about to reach and grab the glass of milk. And the dog quickly came and drank from the milk to save them. He immediately died. In Psikta Rav Kahana Piska Yudalef, it says that they put a matzeva for the dog. They buried him and they wrote on it, Nefesh HaKelev. You see that is even Hakarat Hatov to animals. By the way, any dog owners here should know the Maal Shor in Sanhedrin Tzadizayin Amud Aleph says, why is a dog called a kelev in Hebrew? In Hebrew, Lashon Kodesh, everything has a meaning and essence. Kelev is kuloi lev. He is all heart because the dog is very loyal to his owner. In any case, we see there's Hakarat Hatov to a goy, Moshe Rabbeinu. There's Hakarat Hatov to a dog. Where else do we see in the Torah Hakarat Hatov to a dog? In the Torah itself. They didn't bark, so they get something for it. The treifa. You know what? There's even Hakarat Hatov to vegetation. The plants. You heard of Rav Gustman? Rav Gustman was an Adam Gadol. At the age of 18, he got smicha by Reb Chaim Oizer. Reb Chaim Oizer was the greatest of the generation in the generation of the Chafetz Chaim. People think Chafetz Chaim, but there was someone who was considered greater than Reb Chaim Oizer. And when Rav Gustman used to come in the Chafetz Chaim, Reb Chaim Oizer, Reb Shimon Shkop, stood up for him. A young kid, 18 years old. He went through the Holocaust. He came to Yisrael, to Yerushalayim. He opened a yeshiva called Netzach Yisrael. And one day the Talmidim see that he is watering the plants outside the yeshiva building. And they said, Rebbe, we have somebody who could do that. Why do you do this? And he says, I owe Hakarat Hatov to the plants here. What do you mean? When I was in Germany, the Holocaust, the way I was able to escape is once I was hiding behind the bush and the Germans came and they didn't see me. And Baruch Hashem, that's why I'm here. So he said, Rebbe, German bush, they're not related. That's in Germany, this is in Yerushalayim. They're not related. And Gustman told him, what are you talking about? It's the bush that saved me. I'm not doing it for the bush. The plant doesn't know. The Michtav Meliyahu explains the essence of Hakarat Hatov is to sharpen the sensitivity that we have, that we should have, towards a person that does something good to you. To polish that sensitivity, to have it refined. Somebody did something for you, you should say thank you all the time. And then when we do that, we are able to constantly thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because the Medrash Tanchum and Siman Hey says, Kol ha'koifer betoivaso shel chaveroi. If you deny, you don't acknowledge your friend who benefited you. Levaso, if at the end, he will come to deny HaKadosh Baruch Hu's toiva. He will come not to recognize and acknowledge HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who's showering you constantly with good things, all day long, every day. So we see that Hakarat Hatov really comes from a different place than what we thought. It comes from us, for us. It's not for Yenim. He is just a shaliach from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's for us to sharpen that midah in us in order to say thank you with more depth and meaning to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Before we really answer this shaila, let's go to another Ma'aseh.
I think it says this mentions this about Yosef. It says here that Sapara didn't know Yosef. What do you see afterwards? He didn't recognize Hashem's
Oh, that's a Medrash. Because you don't recognize the benefit you got from a person, ultimately you'll come to deny HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Metzias. Mamish. Listen to this Ma'aseh. A true Ma'aseh. A guy borrowed some money from the wrong people, not from the bank. He was supposed to give back on a certain date. He didn't have all the money. He gave him part of the money. You don't mess with those people. He went out to eat that day. And one of their guys was driving a motorcycle right at the entrance of the restaurant. He stops, he pulls out a gun, one shot. Disappears. He thought he got him. But luckily, this guy, there was a Goya who just got out of her car, and she took the shot. She died. This guy has such a Hakarat Hatov to the Goya who saved his life. One day he knocks on the shul, comes with a Sefer Torah. Rebbe, I want to donate the Sefer Torah to Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's such a miracle. And the Rimonim, the bills, it's for the Ilui Nishmas, the Goya, I don't know what her name was. The Rebbe now comes and asks the Shaila, can you bring a Sefer Torah? Le Ilui Nishmas, I don't want to say the words here, the name of a Goya, into the shul. Doesn't smell good, does it? Can you bring a Sefer Torah le Ilui? Lafka mina lemaisa, aloha lemaisa. What do you say, Rabbi say? Wild case. True Maisa. You started with Moshe Rabbeinu. Continue with Moshe Rabbeinu. First, second, and third plague. Dam Tzvardei Akinim. Who performed them? Why not Moshe? He's the leader. Who needs to strike the water? You're the leader. You're going to do everything else. You're going to give the Torah ultimately. It's called Zichru Torahs Moshe. So why can't you hit the water? Rashi brings from the Gemara. Well, Moshe Rabbeinu used the water. He was saved because of the water. Hakarat Hatov to the water. What about the sand? Makaskinim. Place. How come Moshe Rabbeinu can't strike? It's too heavy. What happened? What's wrong? Once upon a time, he killed the Egyptian and he hit him inside the sand. Hakarat Hatov to the sand. He left fine. Is Hakarat Hatov to the goy? Is Hakarat Hatov to the dog? To the sand? To the water? To a plant? Unbelievable. So based on all this, what do you say? Hakarat Hatov to the goya?
Maybe not.
Why not?
The shul, it's a Malkum Kadosh.
Doesn't smell right, does it? Comes Choivas Alvavos. The beginning of Shar Avodas Elokim. This is a mind-boggling statement. Choivas Alvavos is a Rishon. Avinu B'chayei. He writes, "Ve'im tagia eleinu toiva mimi she'lo hiskaven eleya." If we get a benefit from someone who didn't intend to do us good, nistalek me'aleinu kol chiyuv toiva ve'hakaras hatov elav. We don't owe Hakarat Hatov to a person who did good without intending to do so. Amazing. Sounds exactly like the opposite of everything we've been saying until now. In this case of the Sefer Torah, this went Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein, who is the son-in-law of Rabbi Yosef Zatzal, the brother of Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky, Shlita. And he said a very interesting thing to the person who asked. He says, we don't do this in the shul. This is not shul material. You don't bring a Sefer Torah le'ilu nishmas hagoya, but I have an eitzah for you. You feel Hakarat Hatov to the Goya? Great. Go find her children and teach them 7 mitzvahs bnei Noach. That's the biggest ilui neshama that you can possibly do for the Goya who's already upstairs. To see her kids doing what they really need to do in this world will be the biggest ilui neshama. Not the Sefer Torah. Her descendants who would do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu really wants them, expects them to do, that will be the biggest ilui neshama. Pilei ploim. Now I'm going to try to wipe off the smile of everybody's face with a true Maisa, terrible Maisa.
Go back to a minute. The first story was, can you give a Hakarat Hatov to somebody who didn't intend it? But this person, he certainly didn't intend.
She didn't intend. The Goya didn't intend to.
No, the first story.
Yeah.
By
Definitely didn't intend.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't intend.
So it would seem not.
But imagine, this guy now found out that he's Jewish, He will get married tomorrow. He will have 10 children, many descendants. Chazal say, Kol hamatzil nefesh achas miYisrael. If you save one Jewish soul, it's as if you saved the world entire. And in fact, he's going to have a full world. He's going to have many kids and grandchildren. You don't think he should get something?
Wasn't his intention.
Was not his intention.
And in
Absolutely
fact,
not his intention.
Would be the opposite.
So what is it with the sand? Was it the sand's intention to help Moshe Rabbeinu? How come Moshe Rabbeinu felt Hakarat Hatov to the sand?
Well, the sand certainly was neutral.
Did he intend it to do good to Moshe Rabbeinu?
It's like Haman. And ultimately,
You're sending us to Gitin und Zayin Amud Beis and Sanhedrin Tzadi Vav Amud Beis, where the Gemara says, Mibnei Banov Shel Haman, Limdu Torah Bebnei Brak. For the descendants of Haman, he had, I don't know what generation, but they sat in Bnei Brak and taught Torah. Mibnei Banov Shel Son Cheriv. The greatest enemies. What's going on here?
Haman, he ultimately gave the Yidden lots of mitzvahs.
Some say it's actually a punishment to Haman. Tzabida keneged mida, measure for measure. He tried to destroy us, destroy our Torah. Guess what? From you will come out people who teach Torah to us. But the Pashtus, it's Hakarat Hatov because of him, Klal Yisrael did tshuva. Chazal say in Megillat Tesvav, we had 47 Nevi'im and 7 Nevi'os who stood and rebuked Klal Yisrael, and we did listen. Achashverosh takes off the ring, and everybody starts shaking and does tshuva. Why is it? Because of Haman. So Haman should get something. Because of that, Haman gets the biggest chut ever. He has kids who teach Torah, which is not to be believed.
But we don't thank him personally.
We don't thank him personally, but ultimately, where does it go? Into his heavenly account. Rabbi Akiva, in Bochos Samech Aleph, the famous story with the fox, with the Shualim, Yehuda ben Papus, says to him, Akiva, you're not afraid of the Romans, you know what they're going to do to you. And ultimately, he was right. We know what they did to him. But then Yaakov asks, why Takev was Rabbi Akiva there gathering people publicly and teaching Torah? We're not familiar with one of the mitzvahs in the Torah, one of the 613, thou shalt go to a public place when the Romans say we're going to kill you, and gather groups around. No mitzvah there. Go back home. Learn with your chavusa. Why do it publicly? Then Yaakov says an amazing thing. Rabbi Akiva is a descendant of Sisra with Yael that night. And he wanted to do a tikkun to his Altazayde Sisra. And with such a schus, tremendous schus, to gather people publicly when the Romans say we're going to kill you, he's going to do a lot of noise up in Shemaim for Sisra, his great-great-great-grandfather. Mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. What's the chiluk, in fact, with Moshe Rabbeinu? In our case, let's say the Goya who got out of her car and took the bullet instead of him. There could be possibly 3 chilukim. Moshe Rabbeinu intended to benefit from the sand, from the water. He was placed there in order to be saved. The Goya didn't intend to do anything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned things around so she should be there taking the bullet. The nature, the essence of sand and water is to benefit us. The essence of the Goya is not to benefit us. She's just another human being. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu again turned things around. And the biggest chiluk, if Moshe Rabbeinu strikes the sand and the water, it's degrading, it's embarrassing those things that benefited him. But by you not bringing a Sefer Torah into the shul, not degrading anyone. You're just not doing something that you thought is a great thing. So there's a big chiluk between the two. Now back to the story I wanted to tell you. The last few days...
Kedusha's says opposite.
I'm sorry?
Kedusha's lady says opposite.
Yeah.
It says everything was created to benefit the Yidden.
That's true.
That it doesn't is only when we don't live up to...
This is true. In Sifrei Chasidus it is explained that's the reason Goyim are around. To benefit us, and for us to have a challenge. Are we going to believe them, or are we going to believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu? They have a mission in life. But that specific Goya wasn't there for the use, standing for the use of Yenim, whoever that guy's name is. Okay, now take the bullet for me. That was not her intention when she got out of the car. But Moshe Rabbeinu took the sand and buried the Egyptian there. That's exactly he's trying to use it. So there's a difference between the usage of the sand and the Goya. Back to our story. The last few days before the Holocaust was over. One day, the Germans, they come to the camp and they say, you know, the English are very close. The Americans are coming too. You're going to tell them how great we were to you, huh? Look, you're still around. Many of your friends didn't make it. We kept you alive. And we're sure you're going to only tell them great things. And today we have hot, fresh rolls for you. Hot, fresh rolls after 6 years is like winning the lottery. They all stand in a big line. The German has a basket and he's giving out hot, fresh rolls. Not the billy. Mamish, it looks like gold to them. There was a guy who is the 7th on line. And he sees there's 7 rolls in the basket. He says, oh Hashem, I'm going to get the last roll. The line advances, and in fact, he took the last roll. And as he got it, he noticed that there's another basket right there. So he says to himself, why should I only get one? We all look the same. Skeleton. There's nothing else. We all look the same. I'm going to go back in the line. I'm going to get another roll. And that's what he did. Nobody noticed. The line advances. He gets another roll. The luckiest man in the world. He has 2 hot, fresh rolls. 5 days before the Holocaust is over. He goes outside. And suddenly he feels a tap on his shoulder. This big Russian prisoner. There were also Russian prisoners in the camps, not just Jewish. And he says to him, I saw what you did. I saw what you did. Give me those rolls. Give me those 2. He says, excuse me, why should I give them to you? You're a prisoner just like me. I'm not giving you the rolls. Give me those rolls. You're gun up. I saw what you did. You're a prisoner just like me. You're not getting the rolls. He says, oh yeah? He grabbed him. He lifted him. He took him to a shack. And he basically broke his whole body. He kicked him and he smashed him to pieces. He destroyed him. He took both rolls. In the last few seconds before the seed passed out, he looks up and says, oh, 5.5 years I survived. This is how I should go. This is how I should go. The war is almost over for 2 rolls by this Russian guy. And these were the last thoughts in his mind, and he passed out. When he came to, he opened his eyes, and the sun was shining. He said, that's impossible. That can't be. Because the Germans always used to wake them up at 4 o'clock in the morning before sunrise. And wait a second, why is it so quiet here? It's so quiet. And he looks around. Everybody around him is dead. There was poison in those hot, fresh rolls. The Germans, Yemach Sheman, put poison in them. Fast forward. War is over. There was a Jewish doctor working for the Americans. And the Americans instructed him, if there's any war criminal, you should hand him over. The Russian who stole the 2 rolls, I guess he was such a big guy, the poison wasn't enough, he survived. And he was sick, and he came into this Jewish doctor's hands, and he wanted to know. It's only because of this Russian guy that my friend, the Jew over there, is alive. So maybe we owe him Hakarat Hatov. Or maybe I should report him. Hand him over to the Americans, and they're going to take him to trial. Is there Hakarat Hatov or not? He almost broke every single bone in his body. He was bleeding, almost killed him. But that's the only reason why he's still alive today, because otherwise he would take the rolls and he would die just like the rest of them. What do you say, Rabbi Isai? Is there Hakarat Hatov in a case like this?
You like the mitzvah.
What about the mitzvah?
So we're allowed for them to marry you after 3 generations, even though they killed us. If they let us stay in the land.
Fantastic raya. Tell me, if you're a neighbor to Hitler, Yemach Shemo v'Zichro, and last week he helped you because you had a flat tire, so he helped you switch the tire. Following week he becomes the Hitler that he was. So you owe him Hakarat Hatov? You owe him Hakarat Hatov? Maybe. Chas v'sholem! Hitler! Who killed 6 million of your nation. Family and friends. How do these things work? Very puzzling. You know, to sharpen our sensitivity of Hakarat Hatov, it comes from always looking, what is this guy missing? The sensitivity that we're supposed to have to each of our fellow Jews, not just when he does something good to me, so I should reciprocate or I should appreciate it. It's even a step before that. Tell you a maaseh. The Baron Leib Steinman, Shlita, he's only 103 years old. A few years ago, there was a baby born in B'nai Brak. And the night before the Bris Milah, the Moyel usually comes to check out the baby. He looks at the baby and he says to the father, no bris tomorrow morning. Go to the ER now. Why? Is the baby yellow? No, baby is not yellow. So why can't we have the bris tomorrow morning? Go to the ER now. There's no bris tomorrow morning. He goes to the ER. He says, my Moyel said that you have to check the baby. Your Moyel? Is he a doctor? He's just a Moyel. The baby looks fine. Go back to the Moyel and say he can have the circumcision tomorrow. Everything is okay. My Moyel said he's not going to perform the circumcision unless you give a signed paper saying that you checked and everything's okay. But your Moyel is not a doctor. What does he know? We're telling you it's okay. Do me a favor. He says to the ER, please just take a look at him. Check him out. What do you care? They bring him in. And they say, your Moyel is right. This baby has a major heart condition. There's only one hospital in the United States that can take care of him, a major operation, but we don't think he will survive the flight. What do? They called Rabbi Melech Fira. You heard of Rabbi Melech Fira? The number one Askan. The guy is unbelievable. He's not a medical doctor, but all doctors and professors from all over the world, Jews and Goyim, call him and consult with him. He knows everything there is to know about medicine. And he confirms, he says, I think they're right. The baby has to have an operation here in the States. There's one doctor who can do it. I don't think he can survive the flight. So now what do you do? They went to Rav Shteiman. The father explains to Rav Shteiman the situation. And Rav Shteiman says, you have to fly him to the States. He says, but Rebbe, the doctors are saying he's not going to survive the flight. So Rav Shteiman asks Rabbi Melech Fir, what do you think? What do you think? And he says, I agree. I don't think he's going to make it. Rav Shteiman says, what can he do? He has to take the flight. He has to go to the States. So they listened. That night, they flew him to the States. Baruch Hashem. Everything was okay. He survived the flight. Surgery. He stayed for 6 months in New York. 6 months later, go back to Eretz Yisrael. Baruch Hashem, now he's ready to have his bris. The father goes in to Rabbi Leib the night before the bris. Says, Rebbe, tomorrow is the bris. I want you to be the sandik. Rabbi Leib Shteiman says, no, I will not be the sandik in this bris. Why? We consider you his father. If it wasn't for you, baby wouldn't be here. Says Rabbi Leib, you came to me 6 months ago, the night before his bris. I'm sure you appointed already a sandak at that time. So now, because there was a delay of 6 months, that person should lose the mitzvah, should lose the kavod just because there was a delay of 6 months. I will not be the sandak. I'm willing to come to the bris. I will not be the sandak. The sensitivity to others that yields Hakarat Hatov. To think about what others need. Needs the mitzvah, it's his. Why should I take it? He needs the kavod. Many people enjoy that. Sensitivity to know what others need yields Hakarat Hatov. I'll tell you another true ma'aseh. I'll ask you a question. There was a guy who went to the city of Tzfat for vacation. Shabbos, there's a heart attack. Middle of his vacation. He was rushed to the Ziv hospital. That's the name of this hospital in Tzfat. Ziv. And the doctors started working on him. And they pump his heart and they do this and do that for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, all the doctors feel, this is it. There were a bunch of Jewish doctors there and one Goyish doctor. The Jewish doctors get up and they're about to go downstairs to sign the death certificate. And the Goyish doctor says, I don't think you should go. I think we should continue. And they say, no, the guy's a goner. And they leave. The Goyish doctor continued for 2 hours. He pumped his heart and electric shots and I don't know what else he did for 2 hours and suddenly, Trias amazing. The guy's back. This guy says that he feels that he has 2 birthdays. His real biological birthday and that Shabbos where the Goy saved his life. He formed such a good relationship with that Goy. And he sends him flowers and he buys him chocolate. 20 years, they became mamish good friends. Fast forward 20 years. He now heard that the Goyish doctor lost function of both kidneys. So he went to the doctor and asked, am I a good candidate to donate a kidney? And they said yes. So now he rushed quickly to Highland Park, New Jersey to ask, should I give my kidney to the Goyish doctor? After all, he saved my life. It's only right that I should save his life. He saved my life. If we're going to say, yes, you should give the kidney, and we're wrong, we just transgressed what we said before. Lo yisechoinem. But if there is a hakarat hatov to a goy, as we mentioned earlier, he has to give the kidney. What do you say, Rabbi Isai? Should he give the kidney or not? No. How come? He saved his life. The only reason he's here is because of him. Why don't you want to give him his kidney?
Shouldn't risk your own life. It's a chance, right?
Who said that? I need a proof. I need Shulchan or Shas, Poiskim, Chumash, something. I like the Svara, but I need some documentations. Let's go for one.
I like to think that he should give it.
He should give the kidney.
Why? Because in a situation that other doctors, which were Jewish, did not want to save this person's life, and they gave up. You had one doctor that did feel the need to save this person's life, even though he was a Jew and he is not a Jew. So potentially, by him giving the kidney to this doctor, he might be saving another Jew's life down the road, if that's his dedication to his practice.
Based on that, we should always go to Goyish doctors who lost kidney function, and we should donate kidneys. Let's try to find some sources.
In the United States of America, 25% of all kidney donors, the people they don't know to are Orthodox Jews.
Really?
But the Jews.
Bichlal, in general.
There's a term for giving a kidney to you don't know.
Mike'amcha Yisrael, goy echad ba'aretz. And that the pasuk is saying. You know, Adam Arishon says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not me. Aisha shenasata imadi, it's the woman you gave me. What does Rashi say over there? Frightening Rashi. Kfui toiva. Kan kafar batoiva. Ungrateful. I gave you a wife. This is what you say? So this doctor is saying, I want to be grateful. I don't want to be like, you know, the Navi many times rebukes Klal Yisrael and he says, Bnei Adam. Why does he use the terminology Bnei Adam? You're the sons of Adam Arishon. Just like he was ungrateful, you are doing the same to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this doctor is saying, I want to be grateful. He saved my life. The end of Parshas Vayigash. We learn that Yosef took the Egyptian land from everybody except the Egyptian priests. Aget Admas HaKoyanim, he did not take. Why? Targum Yonasan ben Uzir, Yonasan ben Uzir Tana. He says a remarkable thing. When the wife of Potiphar accused Yosef of being with her, the Egyptian priest said, wait a second, lady. Wait a second. Not so fast. We're going to take this back to the lab. Their lab weren't so sophisticated like ours, but they had their own labs. And they came back and they said, lady, you're a liar. This is not what you claim it is. It's egg white. And in essence, they saved his life. And because he had such a hakarat hatov to the Egyptian priests, he didn't take their land. You see, you can give to the goy. It's a good raya. You like that raya? I don't. It's a terrible raya. Why? Yosef didn't take land, but who says you can give to the goy? So it's not a good raya. So now we have to go to Yoshua Perek Beis, Pasuk Yudalet. Two spies come into Eretz Yisrael. And they hide in the house of Rachav. Before they leave, they tell you should know, we're going to come back very soon with F-16s and all our tanks. We're equipped. We're going to level this place. But you know, you were kind to us. In fact, you risked your life to save us. So if you put a red string outside your window, when we come back, the Israeli army will not touch anybody who's in this building and you will be saved. And they say a very strong, harsh words. Nafsheinu tachtechem lamus. We are willing to be moiser nefesh, to risk our lives for you because you did the same for us. If the neighbors of this Rachav lady would find out that she's hiding these 2 Israeli spies, in 2 seconds they would decapitate her, no question about it. You risked your life. We will be moiser nefesh for you. You see, you can give over your life even for a goy. You like that, Raya? I don't. This Shaila went to Rabbi Yosef Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, and Rabbi Yosef says, what kind of Raya is this? What kind of proof is that? What did Rachav do? She risked her life. What did the doctor do? Exactly what's expected from a doctor to do. To work for 2 hours on a person whom he thinks has a chance to live. So he worked with a lot of stamina, put in all his effort. Excellent. It's exactly what you're getting paid for. And if he is not lazy like the Jewish doctors, he should get something. I think you should buy him a big bottle of wine, this size. BJ size. Costco. Give him $10,000. Give him, I don't know what, you come up with it. But giving a kidney is not comparable to what he did. And if it's a goy, it's a shayla of loy techoinem. You're not allowed to give a free gift to a goy. If it was a Jew, if a mitzvah. What is this mitzvah called? Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa.
Wine or a kidney, it's a gift.
Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. It's a big mitzvah if it's a Jew, but it's not a chiyuv. Not a complete obligation, but it's a tremendous mitzvah. But for a goy, since in order to give a kidney, you have to risk somewhat your life. It's not a very dangerous surgery these days. But every operation entails some risk.
But you can't come out to say don't give a gift if you're saying give.
We're saying give a gift. A huge wine. A huge bottle of wine. He worked for 2 hours so hard.
You're saying, but the reason not to is so they were not over this.
Lo techoinem. Right.
So you can't say out of both sides.
Why?
Because it's contradictory.
Hakarat Hatov.
As the rationale.
Hakarat Hatov to a goy. Hakarat Hatov to a goy dictates that you must give him a gift. He did something for you. The only reason you're here. But what did he do? Did he risk his life? No. So you don't risk your life. With a goy, it has to match. Now, how do we match exactly 2 hours of extra work? I don't know. Come up with the idea. $10,000, a big bottle of wine, flowers, or chocolate for Shabbos. He doesn't keep Shabbos. Come up with something.
Furthermore, you can say, oh, the Jewish doctors were lazy. No, the Jewish doctors were right.
The Mafreya retroactively.
You had a row of doctors who said, there's nothing here. He went above and beyond. He didn't do what was normal. He went above and beyond. He didn't do what was expected.
For above and beyond, he gets above and beyond. That's why it's $10,000, not just a bottle of wine. But he didn't risk his life. Rabbi Yosef told the guy, you think he saved your life? Chas v'sholem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved your life. He sent this guy as a shaliach. But he never risked his life. So he didn't risk his life. You don't risk your life. That's what Rabbi Yosef explained. He didn't save your life. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved your life. It's a totally different outlook. A different hashkafa. You know, if we have to be makir toiv, to a goy, to a dog, to a plant, what else would we say? To sand and water. I think the first thing that we must acknowledge is Hakarat Hatov to your wife. One of the Chashuv Rabbanim in Bnei Brak told me that one day he was coming out of his house and he saw one of Gdoilei Hador, Mamish, one of the Gdoilei Hador, come down from his house with a bag of garbage. He was throwing out the garbage. 85 years old. So he ran quickly to the Gadol Hador and he says, Rebbe, thank you so much for teaching me that it's not beneath any person to throw out the garbage. This is so important for me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And the Gadol looks at him and says, what? You only realized it now? Tell me, what's the first thing every morning they used to do in Beis HaMikdash? The first avodah, the first service in Beis HaMikdash is Tumas HaDeshen. What's Tumas HaDeshen? Take out the ashes, take out the garbage, clean up Mizbeach. The first avodah in Beis HaMikdash is Tumas HaDeshen, clean the garbage, take out the garbage. I guess you don't realize that your house is a mini Beis HaMikdash. Because if you really believe that your house is a makom for Hashras HaShechina, for the Shechina to dwell like Beis HaMikdash, the first thing you would want to do every morning is to take out the garbage. But we don't really believe that our house can be a Beis HaMikdash. Our house is a Beis HaMikdash. A Jewish home is a place for the Shechina to dwell, just like the Beis HaMikdash. It's called a mini Beis HaMikdash. That's what Chazal say in Soita Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph, that if an ish and isha, if a man and a wife married, Shechina is there. So you got to take out the garbage. Pashut. many places in Europe, people go to see different kvarim. There's one specific place. We're not going to mention where it is. It starts with U. We're not going to mention where it is. Many people go. I know many people go. Tens of thousands of people go at certain times of the day. We're not going to mention where, but there was a Maaseh where a group from Israel wanted to go to this specific place where we're not going to mention that it starts with a U and then there's an M. And they intended to go, but there was one guy who joined the group, but he had different kavanos. He wanted to go with a plan. And all my friends are going to wake up early morning and they're going to go to the mikveh before davening. Nobody has an account in where this is in Ukraine. Well, everybody has cash in their pants. So I'm going to wake up 5 minutes later, and then I'm going to go to everybody's pants and collect all the cash. That's what he planned. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a different plan. That morning, he couldn't get up. And suddenly he woke up to the sound of somebody in the room doing exactly what he wanted to do. It was a big Russian guy. Going from one guy's locker to the other and taking all the pants, all the cash in the pants. He started yelling, "Ganov! Ganov! Ganov!" The Russian was so scared, he dropped the money and he ran out. But from the yelling, all his friends ran back from the mikveh. And this guy bent down and picked up all the money, and his friends come in. And they all tell him, "How in the world did you do that? We saw this giant Russian guy. How did you scare him away? You were a gibor. You are our hero." He said, "Yeah, well, this is what I do. You are our hero. Nothing is missing from all the money that we have. This is unbelievable." And they all decided to give him $1,000. Hakarat Hatov, you saved our money. They came back to Eretz Yisrael. This guy came to ask a shayla. Tell me, am I a gibor? I'm not a gibor Yisrael. I'm a gun of Yisrael. I should get $1,000 for what? I wanted to steal that money. It's just they came back at last second. So I said, "Oh, here, I saved your money." Should he get the money or not? It's Hakarat Hatov. He should get the money. But if the Jews knew this is what he intended to do, would you give the money? If you knew he intended to steal your money, would you still give him the money? So why can't they claim mekachtos? I would never give him the money if I knew. But you still want to give him $1,000. What do you say?
Well, he didn't save him the money.
I'm sorry?
Because if he didn't intervene,
They would be out.
everything.
Correct? So you should get the money. Wouldn't you claim mekachtos in a case like this?
My
He
question
didn't make
is
the
when,
claim. They attributed it to him.
Right. He didn't ask for the money.
He didn't.
my question is when the big Russian guy dropped all the money, did he intend to pick up that money and take it for himself?
Absolutely. But at that second, oh, hi, look what I did for you. They all
He
came in.
wanted to keep it.
Of course.
So yeah, so it is.
That's what
So
Hashem
don't give him the
wanted
money.
to keep. That's what Hashem wanted to have.
Who says, well, let's find a source that when somebody does something,
I'm done.
even if he intends to do something bad, now we're taking it a step forward. But something good comes out of it, he gets a schus. What about Bilam?
That he wanted to give kolos.
It came out
Brachas.
so much so that in Brachos Yud Gimel, Chazal say that they actually wanted to institute Matoivu Alecha Yaakov instead of Kriyat Shema. But look to his friend. Who hired Bilam? Balak. Chazal say Balak was such a nasty man. Wow. Chazal say a lot of different things about him. And the same Chazal come in Soita Mem Zayin and in Sanhedrin Kufay and say a mind-boggling statement. Because of the 42 korbanos Balak sacrificed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he was Zoiche, that who came out of him? Us. In other words, David HaMelech. In other words, Mashiach. Mashiach from where? From Balak. Why? Because he brought 42 sacrifices. 42 sacrifices? Why did he bring the 42 sacrifices? So it should become out the most extravagant curses ever heard. It didn't work. Well, you get a schus. Blessings came out. Don't you think you should get a schus? Mind-boggling. The end of Parshas Chukas. Moshe Rabbeinu is about to fight Og, the king of the Bashan. The pasuk says, "Al tiro Isoi." Kodesh Baruch Hu says to Moshe, "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I will hand him over Rashi says, based on the Gemara Nida Samech Aleph, why should he be afraid? He just finished fighting his brother Sichon, who was also a giant. Why should he be afraid of Og? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't say before he fights with Sichon, don't be afraid. Only way before he fights Og. Why? Because Og had a tremendous chus. Why? This is the same Og who somehow survived back many, many, many years, the flood. And this is the same Og who once came to Avraham and said, your nephew was kidnapped. Go save him. Oh, you're such a tzaddik Og. But Chazal tell us, why did he do this? Why did he say to Avraham, your nephew was kidnapped? So Avraham will go to fight, would die, and Og can marry Sarah. Wow, mamish a tzaddik. Oh, tzaddik, one of the Lamed Vavnik of the door. And yet, this gives him such a big schus that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to say, don't worry, it's true, he has the schus, but don't worry, I'm going to give him over into your hands. Mamish unbelievable. You see that when you do something, even if you intend to do something bad, but something good comes out of it, you get a schus. And you see that this guy has changed. The kever changed him. He's a new man. That kever does many things to many people. He came back with the shayla. Why did he ask the question? Because you see, he was moved. He's changed. And he didn't ask them to give him the money. They decided to give the money. And therefore, he does not have to give him back the money. And we said you have to be makir tov to so many different people. I think the first thing where it should start is with your parents. Those of us who still have parents around. And people who don't. But this is what we should teach our kids. Listen to this unbelievable ma'aseh. Fresh, very fresh. I heard this last week. A 95-year-old Holocaust survivor stood up in the wedding of his grandson in Bnei Brak just a few weeks ago and told the following story. He is the only survivor of a town that had 20,000 Jews. When the Germans came, they said everybody must come to the town square at 5 p.m. At 4 o'clock, his father calls him over and he says to him, I want you to bring me my Shabbos shirt. He runs in and brings it. I want you to iron this shirt. You're going to meet the Germans. You have to wear a Shabbos shirt to meet the Germans? Well, your father asks you something, you have to do. In those years, it wasn't like now. You plug the iron in and you start ironing. It's a big deal. You have to prepare it. You have to warm up the coals. It was a big procedure. It took him half an hour. He irons it and he thinks it looks perfect. He comes back to his father. Here's your shirt. But what about this spot over here? What about this over here? Do it again. 4:45, Abba, we have to be at 5 o'clock in the square. Iron my shirt. He goes back, he irons it again. He comes back 5 minutes later. How is this now? It's okay, but what about the collar? Okay, he goes back, and now he comes back 5 minutes later. It's already 5 o'clock. Abba, how is this now? It looks okay, but you iron without starch. Go do it again. 5:15, he comes back. Abba, is this okay now? Yeah, looks not bad. Let me see it. He puts it on. How does it look on me? Looks okay? He says, yes, let's go. Wait a second. Please bring my Shabbos shoes and shine them. Abba. And at this point, he figured, my father lost it. The fear. They knew what the Germans were doing. They knew exactly. And therefore, I guess, Emas Mavis, the fear, my father lost it. But what can you do? Your father asks you to do something, you have to do it. He took his Shabbos shoes. And again, it's not like how we do it today. He took the shmater, he took the solution, like the old years, the olden times. And he shines it, and half an hour later he comes back to his father, how's this now? Okay, but what about this spot over here? And what about over here? Does it again. At 6 p.m. he comes back, Abba, is this okay now? Yes, thank you very much. Puts on his shoes, and he says to his son, you know why I did this? Let me explain to you. When we all heard the Germans are in town, we all tried to figure out in the last couple of days some kind of a sgula, how to be saved. So many Jews took diamonds and they sewed it into their shirts and into their suits, so they'll have what to use to bribe the Germans later. Many people went to their neighbors and asked to hide their kids and asked to do all kinds of things. I kept thinking, what can I do to save you, that you'll survive. And I came up with a plan. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you honor, respect your father and your mother, you know what's going to happen? Leman, in order. You'll have longevity. Here. Now we can go to the town square. And he says, he's the only survivor of a town of 20,000 Jews. So what about our Hakarat Hatov to our parents? On a regular basis. You know, above all, if we need to be Makir Tov, to the goy, to the dog, to the sand, to the water, to the wife, and to the parents, how much more so we should be Makir Tov to Kodesh Baruch Hu? Listen to this, Maisa. There was a Yid who came from Romania. His name was Samuel Leibowitz, a lawyer. Came to the States, did very well. Samuel Leibowitz never lost a case. He was amazing. The jury was in awe of him. The judges was his biggest admirers. The other side lawyers, they trembled. He was unbelievable. He never lost a case except once. 15 years ago in Houston, Texas. What happened in Houston? There was a serial killer. And this guy was a professional. Never made any mistakes. Except once. Where somebody saw him coming into the room, and they saw the person who was ultimately murdered, and then the person was no longer there. It's the only mistake that this guy made. But they had strong evidence, what they thought is strong evidence, and they were about to give him the capital punishment. Things looked really, really bad for Samuel Leibowitz's client. And at one point, the judge says, well, Sam, doesn't look too good, does it? And Samuel Leibowitz got up and said, Your Honor, you're right. Right now, it doesn't look so good for my client. But you know, all of this will change in exactly 5 minutes. Because in exactly 5 minutes, you see that door over there? The guy whom you say was murdered is going to walk in. And when he does, you will throw this case out the window. Now, everybody in the courtroom was hypnotized and glued to that door. What's going to happen in 4.5 minutes? Now it's 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes, 3 to go. The jury, many spectators, the reporters, everybody. 2, 1, and exactly 5 minutes after he said, the door opens up. And who comes in? A guy who looks like a homeless 90-year-old with shorts. It's not the guy who was murdered. And the judge got so upset, and he starts yelling at Samuel Leibowitz. I will hold you in contempt! What are you, making fun of us? This is an embarrassment!
Created doubt.
Unbelievable what you did here! And Samuel Leibowitz gets up and says, wait a second, Your Honor. Wait a second. You are about to take my client's life away. But you know, in these 5 minutes, I watched you. You were all looking at the door. Why were you looking at the door? If you're so convinced my client killed that person, it's impossible that he's going to walk in here. So why were you looking? That means you have a doubt. And if you want to have a doubt, based on that doubt, you want to take my client's life away? And you know, Your Honor, I have a little surprise for you. During these 5 minutes, I recorded you. Watching that door, you couldn't take your eyes off it. And in fact, I recorded this whole room. Everybody was watching. So you have a major doubt if my client did or not, and based on that, you want to take his life? Here, Your Honor, here's the video. Break. Half an hour, we'll be back. They go to the back room. Start watching the video. And it's true. Everybody was watching that door. Is he going to walk here or not? Dead man walking. And after 25 minutes, the judge goes back into the courtroom and says, you were right. Everybody was watching that door, but we decided that your client should be put to death. We find him guilty. Why? So I'll tell you why. Because everybody was watching. We looked at the video again and again and again and again, except for one person. Who? Your client. Why didn't your client look? This is his lifesaver. Why? Because he knows that he killed the person, so it's impossible for him to walk in. That's the only reason why he is not looking. Mimele, he is guilty, and therefore we will take his life. With this story, he explained, in Ma'amad Har Sinai, just 2 weeks ago, we read a Seres HaDibros. Klal Yisrael said, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. That doesn't make sense. If we were there, we would seem to say, wait a second, let me hear what you have to offer. Nishma, and only then. Na'aseh, only then we will do. But Klal Yisrael did the reverse. They said, Na'aseh v'nishma. Why? Because when you have no doubt, there's no need to hear. I know who is offering me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, my Father. He created me. He wants to give me all the best that there is in this world. There's no need to say, Nishma. First, I'm committing to doing Na'aseh. And only then I'm willing also to Nishma. I don't need it. When we get up tomorrow morning, and you put your right shoe first, and then the left. You tie the left, and you tie the right. And you run to shul. You put your tefillin on. You keep Shabbos and you eat kosher. You say brachos. That's in essence a reenacting of Na'aseh v'nishma. Every time anew. We're in essence saying we believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu is true, His Torah is true, and we have Hakarat Hatov. We said, after all, the whole idea of Hakarat Hatov is to polish the sensitivity in us, to be Mokir Tov to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who gives us everything we have on a regular basis, every single second. You breathe. Hakarat Hatov for that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you back your neshama this morning. Hakarat Hatov for that. Everything we do, when we say thank you to you and to you and to you, it's in essence thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu because He sent you and you and you. You know, 17 or 18 years ago, Rebbe Yosef Zecher Tzadik Livrocha had a major operation when he was young, when he was 91 years old. And they had a special Goyish doctor from Cleveland come to operate. And Rebbe Yosef asked his grandchildren, teach me how to say thank you in English. This was a very, very difficult task for him. Thank you, thank you. It took him a long time, and he finally broke his teeth, and he's able to say thank you. And the grandchildren asked Rebbe Yosef, we don't understand. You rely on us for the most complicated medical questions. We communicate with a doctor, and you rely on us. But when it comes to thank you, no. You have to thank the doctor. Why do you have to thank the doctor? Why can't we say, our grandfather doesn't know how to speak English, or he's saying thank you? Rabbi Yosef says no. To say thank you to a person in a language he doesn't understand is gunisht. It's nothing. Rabbi Yosef doesn't say things sam. He has a source. What's his source? Chazar Hashatz. You daven Shmoneh Esrei and then you have Chazar Hashatz. You rely on the Shatz for everything. There's Shliach Tzibur, there's Chazan. Chazan, I'd like to ask you to daven for me for refuah, for parnasa, wisdom will be good too. Everything. But wait a second, when it comes to Moedim, I'm going to do it myself. You turn around and say, Moedim, and you bow down to the Ribono Shel Olam because I can't rely on anybody else to say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That has to come from you. Rabbi Yosef Zadia is already found in the Abu Draham. Abu Draham is one of the Rishonim, and that's what he explains on Moedim Derabanan. That is why we bow down to Kodesh Baruch Hu and we say to Chazal, you can do it on your own. We will do it. Thank you very much. Daven for everything else for us. But thank you has to come from the heart. So again, Ashir about Hakarat Hatov is all about thank you. So I want to thank again the organizers and facilitators and all the participants. It's a tremendous chus for me to be here, and I thank you. Mitzvah Hashem. We're going to have in Mitzvah Hashem many shiurim, but next time it's not going to be here. It's going to be in Eretz Yisrael, Mitzvah Hashem, Yerushalayim. We will all be dancing together in front of Beis Hamikdash. Should only know Simcha v'sason kol hayamim. We should be besuras toivet. Those who need parnasa should have plenty of parnasa. Those who need children should have plenty of children. Those who need refuah and shidduchim and all the good zachen should have in Mitzvah Hashem plenty of them. Simcha v'sason bias gorel tzedek b'mheira v'yameinu amen.
Amen.
I didn't hear the ending of the case of the two rolls. If the prisoner that was beaten if they should turn in the guy who beat him. Now,
right.
The principle in the Gemara that somebody who is kind to the cruel, or somebody who's kind to the cruel at the end becomes cruel to the kind. So, so is there any tzad?
That's what we said before. That's what I said before.
I didn't hear. Okay.
If Hitler was your neighbor and he helped you last week to change the tire, guess what? There is no Hakarat Hatov to Hitler. That guy is a bar mavis in Sanhedrin Nun Ches Amud Beis. Chazal say, If a goy strikes a Jew, bar mavis, capital punishment. So there's no time to do Hakarat Hatov, because first you have to kill him, and then you can be nice to him. Regarding the first case, maybe we didn't answer it completely. You know, a goy is allowed to hate the Jews. He's allowed to hate us. You know why he hates us? He said, I grew up with Jewish people in my neighborhood. He saw. You know what the meaning of Kedusha is? Where I'm Kaddish. What's the meaning of Kedusha? If someone on the Hirsch explains, separated and elevated. And he saw that. He's jealous. He's envious of us. That's why he hates us. That's okay. As long as he doesn't act upon it, all he said is, I hate Jewish people. What you touch is disgusting. That's okay. Maybe he's not such a kind person. He's allowed to hate us. He didn't do anything wrong. I think it's because he's jealous. And he has a good reason to be jealous. So therefore there is no chiyuv of giving him a kidney, but I think there is a Hakarat Hatov. Only because of him, he found his Judaism. I think there's a Hakarat Hatov there.
I gave it a Muslim guidance when I said about parents. I gave it.
There is no kibud av, but then there is Hakarat Hatov. He has to honor him, but als Hakarat Hatov, not als of kibud av. Also, because it shouldn't be a chilul Hashem, people will say Bal Mikdusha Chamura Lekdusha Kala. When he was a goy, kibud av. Now he doesn't have to. So it'll be a chilul Hashem.